I've noticed that hurt people hurt people. When we aren't careful, we can damage people that were never meant to be damaged, and I've always wondered where that all started. Wondered where it all began, and I think I figured it out. You see, what happens is we grow up in toxic households. We grow up being taught that raising your voice at a woman is normal, and that calling a man out of his name is okay. That it makes you more of a man to put your hands on a female, and it makes you more of a woman to stay. When I was 14, I sat and watched as a sad excuse for a man laid his hands on a woman that was pregnant. I didn't understand it. Didn't know whether to accept it or deny it, but I knew it wasn't love. I can remember the noises. I can remember her blood, the screams, the noise. When I was 18, I sat and watched as a sad excuse for a woman intentionally said words to my brother to belittle the man that he is soon to become. You see, I was adopted. And most of the men in my family never really had real men to follow. Never really had real examples to learn from. Their fathers in their lives were what we call absent fathers. Check up on you once a week to ask you for money to get some weed type of fathers. They were have a baby here, have a baby there, have a baby everywhere type of fathers. And so that cycle began. Most of the females in my family were never really taught how to respect themselves. They were taught that if a man puts his hands on them, that he loves them. And unfortunately, some of them still believe that. You see, we were all taught something in our households. Everything that we have learned since a child has developed our opinions, developed our loves, developed our habits. It has all developed us. So again, I'm sorry for messing up on America. It's like, I have never messed up on that poem. I performed it so many times. But am I over the 10-minute mark or? Okay, cool. I'm gonna do one more. So this poem is a letter to my father. I was adopted by two women, and so I grew up without him, and this is a letter to him. To my father who was never around. I've spent most of my life wondering what my life would have been like had I been raised by you. Days in which I would wonder how it would have felt to play catch with the man I would hope to become like one day. When I was younger, I would imagine playing football on the football field, running and jumping, hike, he might say. And ever so swiftly, I would dash to the 40-yard line to make a cut. So quick, they would have been calling me OBJ, but again, I'm only imagining. Days where I would then sit down in front of you and learn what it was you thought it meant to be a man, but you were never around. When I was younger, I was wondering how I was going to become something I've never seen, something I've never felt, something I've never heard. It was because of your absence that made me insecure as a child. I would see other children playing catch with their fathers, young boys playing catch with their dads, but I don't blame you. I'm sure if it wasn't for the system, your desire to be pleased was the only thing you were thinking about. You left me, my brother, and my sister alone with no father. And without that king and queen, I probably wouldn't even be here now. But I've grown from that young, insecure boy. Now I can understand how perhaps raising two young kings and a queen wasn't something you knew how to do. Perhaps your father wasn't around and he left you too. So of course, it only makes sense that you did the one thing you knew exactly how to do, and that's leave. Yeah, so those are the pieces. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on 2 pages. The one that made it, and then the other page is the poetry page. Is TOTMI. literally just an acronym. So thank you guys.